Today we're going to learn Shabbat Daf Kuf Chav Zayin. We're going to start at the top at the 5th line, Tanu Rabbanan. Just to review, we learned the Mishnah that you can take out a number of baskets, 4 or 5 according to the Mishnah. The issue again is Tircha Yetera. We don't want you to work very hard. On the other hand, the issue is that you want to do it either Mipnei HaOrchim, because you have guests, or Mipnei Bitul Beit HaMidrash. You want to basically clear out your storehouse so that people can use it. Notice we didn't really discuss this enough at the end of yesterday's class, but the issue is that it's for a mitzvah. So it's important for the purposes of a mitzvah, the rabbis are going to allow tircha yetera. Now that's under the condition. There's 3 issues at stake here. One is working too hard. Number 2, we have the issue that maybe some of the items there are muktzah, and therefore, if you remember, we saw the machloket Rabbi Yehuda, Rabbi Shimon at the end of the daf, the previous class, about whether you have to start before Shabbat. Otherwise, according to Rabbi Yehuda, everything in the storehouse is muktzah because you weren't really planning to use it. According to Rabbi Shimon, what do you mean? It's food. That's not considered muktzah. And then the issue will be that in the Mishnah, they discuss certain items that are muktzah anyway, and we'll start dealing with that list. Specifically, we'll get to today the list of the things that are not muktzah, and in the upcoming daf, we'll get to all the list of things that are muktzah. And then the third issue was if you take everything out, or depending on maybe if you take out the pile of boxes even to the bottom one, then you might come to be doing what we call a tolada of boneh, of building, which is you might smooth out the ground, which is a problem also. So those are all the possible issues here. So we're going to start with another. Braita Tanu Rabbanan, ein matchilim ba'otzar tchila, aval oseh bo shvil kedei sheyikanes v'yotzeh. According to this, you can't start. This matches the opinion of Rabbi Yehuda that everything in the otzar, in the storehouse, is muktzah. Therefore, you can't start dealing with it. But what can you do? Is you can start on Shabbat if you didn't start before Shabbat. But you can walk through, and as you're walking through, pave out a path, kind of kicking things to the side. More, you're not even really directly kicking, you're just moving your feet, and that's moving everything aside, in which case you're going to end up creating a path that way. But that's what we call tiltul min hatzad. You're only allowed to do it in a backward kind of way. V'ha'amart. So now they say, wait a minute. Oseh bo shvil v'ha'amart ein matchilim. So now they say, if it says you can make a path, but it says you can't do it, you can't start on taking apart things. So again, they explain this what I just said. Hachi kamar oseh bo shvil beraglo b'knisato u'b'yitziato. But as you're walking in and as you're walking out, you can make this path. Tanu Rabbanan, tfu'at tzfura. If you have a piled up wheat, bizman shehitchil ba me'erev Shabbat, mutar listapek mimena b'Shabbat. If you started from before Shabbat, then you can take from that pile on Shabbat, because you showed that you weren't setting it aside. But if you didn't, asur listapek mimena b'Shabbat. Divrei Rabbi Shimon. This seems to indicate, now this is very strange. This sounds like Rabbi Yehuda and not Rabbi Shimon, so hold off on your question. Rabbi Acha matir. Rabbi Acha says it's not a problem because we don't hold that that's muktzah. Rabbi Shimon seems to be saying if you didn't start dealing with the pile from before Shabbat, then the pile is actually muktzah to you. So the Gemara says, Kapelaya, what are you talking about? Should be the opposite. Ela ema divrei Rabbi Acha, the Rabbi Shimon matir. Obviously had the opinion switched, and it should really be the Rabbi Shimon's the one who allows it. Rabbi Acha holds like Rabbi Yehuda. Tana, another braita. Kama shi'or tfu'at tzfura. How much is considered, if you have a pile of the wheat, how much, or the produce, how big is the pile in order for us to say that's already considered a pile that you're leaving aside for storage purposes? So we say letech. Okay, a letech is half a core, which is 15 se'ah. Okay, again, we don't really, right? I don't remember exactly what this is in regular. There's all sorts of charts, you can look it up, but it's a decent amount. So they asked the exact same question we just asked. So he basically quotes in the answer to what we just said. He says, what do you mean? They already said it's a letech. Another question. Hani arba v'chamesh kupot deka'amal. The arba v'chamesh kupot in tfelo. When they say 4 or 5 kupot, do they mean that you can take out the amount that one would find in 4 or 5 baskets? Or does it mean specifically you have to carry it out in 4 or 5 baskets? This goes back to the question when we talked about clearing the table and we talked about the one trip challenge, right? Is it easier to bring everything all at once? Or do you then end up carrying heavier things and maybe that's harder? Or also you have to put everything together at the table. But here the question's going to be, we're not really so concerned with the work you're doing at the table, but the question is, carrying things out, is it easier if you carry in just 4 or 5 trips, or however many trips you can make a 4 or 5 kupot, or is it the amount that 4 or 5 kupot could hold? So do we say, you can't use it, you can't carry them out anymore. You can't put them into smaller utensils and carry all those utensils out. And according to that, we want to minimize how much you have to walk. Or is it better, it's a matter of how much we want you to carry. We don't want you carrying any more than X amount of stuff. We don't care how many trips you make. So, Tashma, let's try to learn from here. So one place says, in one source it says you can do 4 or 5 kupot full of jugs of oil and wine. There's another source that says 10 or 15. What does it mean 10 or 15? Maybe that's exactly the machloket between the two of them. Exactly our question is a debate between these two sources. Umar savar mi'ute behilucha adif. Umar savar mi'ute b'masoy adif. Maybe one holds minimize how much you walk, and therefore 4 or 5 kupot. And the other opinion says, no, you could do it in 10 or 15, as long as 10 or 15 smaller utensils, right? The whole issue is we just don't want you to go over the amount that one would find in 4 or 5 kupot. So the Gemara says, no, you don't necessarily need to read it that way. Everybody thinks you want to minimize how much you walk. Who's to say 10 or 15 means 10 or 15 baskets? Kadim kai. It's talking about how many kadim can be in the kupot, because it just says a kupot. The question is how many are in there. Below kasha. And now we don't have there's no disagreement between these two sources. One says 4 or 5 kupot, the other says 10 or 15. Let's explain. When we say 4 or 5 kupot, we mean each one has one big jug of wine in it, or oil. And when it says 4, it's when you're carrying 2 in each. And sorry, it would be 5, 1 second. It would be 5, chada chada, right below nachal minyana, dekadin, ayr bekadin gedolim, chada bekupa, right? 4 or 5 is chada, oh, sorry, right, I got confused with the 10. We're now on the 10 and 15. So the 10 is if you have 3 in each, and the 15 is when you have 2 in each, right? So is that right? Yeah, am I making sense? Yeah, 3 and 10, right? Then you would end up with, right, kadim ktanim eser, oh, sorry, it's the opposite. In 10, if you have small kadim, then you're going to have you can have 10 where each one has 2 in each kupa. In other words, you're going to have 2 to a basket. And then, right, you'll have 2 to a basket. Okay, so if you remember okay, I got confused for a minute. The 15 and the 10 are talking about how many in each kupa. We still have 4 or 5 kupot. How many kadim you have inside? How many jugs? So if you're going to say 2 in each, then we're going to say that gets you to 10. Because if you have 5 baskets with 2 each, you're going to end up with 10 kadim. And if there's 3 in a basket, then you're going to end up with 15 kadim. So that really it's all talking about the exact same thing. It's just telling you how many kadim are needed. So if there's 1 kad, then we're talking about a big kad, and that's going to fit into 1 basket, and then each basket has 1. Each basket has 2, or each basket has 3, then we're going to go up to 10 or 15 kadim. and ubedikure de Harpanya. And the small ones, the tzlata are these small ones that they had in the city of Harpanya. Ibailahu, another question. Hane arba v'chamesh deka'amal, af agav di'i le'orchim tuva, o dilma kolafi orchim. When we say 4 or 5, do we mean 4 or 5 per guest or 4 or 5 altogether? Okay, so it doesn't matter how many guests you have, you still can only move 4 or 5. Or does it mean you can move 4 or 5 baskets for each individual guest? And if you want to say it all goes by the guest, second question is, even if you can do it for all the guests, 4 or 5 at a time, well then, is one person doing all the work for all his guests? Let's say you're having 10 guests. Are you allowed to move 4 or 5 kupot times 10 for all those guests? Or does everybody need to move it for themselves? Tashma, let's learn it from here. One time Rebbe went to a place and he saw that there was no space for the students. He found a field and it was full of these bundles. And again, it would be the same kind of thing. Can you move the bundles on Shabbat? So what do you see here? He moved them all, which means you can move them all for the guests. Now the Gemara assumes right now they were only answering the first question, which was, can you move it for guests? Okay, in other words, can you do 4 or 5 per guest? And this seems to indicate yes. And in fact, we're going to see another story. Rav Yosef Amar Rabbi Yoshaya, פעם אחת הלך רבי חייא למקום אחד, וראה מקום דחוק לתלמידים, ויצא לשדה ומצא שדה מלאה עומרים, ואימר רבי חייא כל השדה כולה. שמע מינה, הכל לפי האורחים. Again, he does the entire field. It seems like everything goes by. You can do the entire thing. ועדיין תיבאילך, but what's still a question? חד גבר מפני לכולי, או דילמה כל גבר וקבר. Still, we didn't answer the question, can one person do it for everybody or does everybody have to do it for themselves? Tashma, so they say, of course, we saw this in answer to that from the story also. Ve'imer Rebbe. Looks like Rebbe did it. So now the Gemara says, wait a minute. You think he did all the work himself? It's true it said Rebbe did it, but it can't possibly be. Rebbe was the Nasi. You think he was going to go into the fields and take out all the bundles? It must be he told everyone to do it. Therefore, they seem to indicate here that everybody does it for themselves. Now we're going to talk about the fact that we are allowed to do this for orchim, for guests, and this shows us the importance of guests. And now we're going to talk about the mitzvah of hachnasat orchim and how important it is. It's like waking up early to go to the Beit Midrash. How do we know this? From our Mishnah. Dekatane mipnei orchim u'mipnei bitul Beit HaMidrash. It's even more important in getting up to learn. Having guests is a super important mitzvah. How do we know this? First it's a guest, then it's a bitul Beit HaMidrash. Rav Dimi says, you see from here, that it's even more important. Amar Rav Yehuda Amar Rav, Gdola achnasat orchim me'hakbalat pnei hashchina. He goes even farther to say more important to invite guests than it is to go greet God. How do we know this? Tichtiv by Abraham. Im na matzati chen be'einecha al na ta'avor. Right? Abraham says, I don't, al na ta'avor me'al avdecha. Abraham says, I'm going to go greet the malachim. And, if it's okay with you, wait for me. Okay? Al na ta'avor me'al raglecha. We'll get back to that. Me'al avdecha. We'll get back to that soon about how he asked God to actually wait for him. But meaning he's leaving God to go greet the angels. Amar Rabbi Elazar, right? This is the famous where we learn Hachnasat Orchim from Avraham Avinu when the angels came and he went out to greet them and he made them food. Amar Rabbi Elazar, Bo Re'esh Shalok Midat HaKadosh Baruch Hu Midat Basar V'Dam. God doesn't act like humans act. Midat Basar V'Dam Ein Katan Yochol Amar L'Gadol Hamtein Ad Shavo Etzlecha. You can't say to someone, great, oh, wait here. Let me just go take care of something less important. You can't say that. Right? You can't say, wait for me. Remember, Avram says, wait for me. So God is willing to forego his respect in order for us to be able to go greet, to have guests. Okay, there we see the significance. Amar Rav Yehuda bar Shila, Amar Rabbi Asi, Amar Rabbi Yochanan. שישה דברים אדם אוכל פירותיהם בעולם הזה, והקרן קיימת לו לעולם הבא. Okay, there's 6 things. Okay, this sounds familiar. This is a Mishnah in Pe'ah, but right now we're not quoting from the Mishnah in Pe'ah. Quoting the name of Rabbi Yochanan, he actually says something different from the Mishnah in Pe'ah that appears in our prayers every day, in our davening. So there's 6 things you're supposed to eat, where you eat your perot ba'olam hazeh, you're going to get rewarded in this world, and you're going to get rewarded in the future world. The keren kayemet lo, meaning you don't eat up all your rights in this world, you still have the principle in the future world. So what are these things? Eluhen hachnasat orchim, okay, having guests, that's number 1. Bikur cholim, visiting sick people. Iyun tefillah, looking into prayers, or having, really we say it's having good intent when you're praying, kavanah. Vashkamat beit hamidrash, waking up early to go to the beit midrash, to go learn. V'hamagadel banav l'talmud Torah, teaching your children to learn loving Torah, or to learn Torah. V'hadan et chavero l'chaf zchut, one who judges his friend with a how do you say, with a kind eye, meaning if you, with a, I can't think of how to translate it, to give them the benefit of the doubt. Okay, to judge your friend with the benefit of the doubt. We're going to see all sorts of stories about this soon. So now the Gemara says, Ini, is that really true? That these are the 6 things? Doesn't it say in the Mishnah in Pe'ah? Elu dvarim, Pe'ah is the Masechet that talks about giving the corner of your field to the poor people. And it says there, Elu dvarim sha'adam ochel perotehem ba'olam hazeh, ha'keren kayemet lo la'olam haba. Ve'elu hein, so the exact same thing appears in the Mishnah, but the conclusion is different. What are they? Kibud av v'em, respect for your parents. Gemilut chasadim, doing chesed, doing good deeds. Hava'at shalom sheben adam l'chavero, bringing peace between other people. V'talmud Torah keneged kulam. And Talmud Torah is comparable to all of these. Okay, Talmud Torah is on an equal level. First of all, there aren't 6 here. Okay, there's 1, 2, right? There's 4 here. And it sounds like Hanaim, midach v'nilo. It sounds like these are the 4 things and not the other things mentioned. So what are the answer? Haneinami bahane shayche. All of the ones that he said can go into the other categories. Okay, how so? Some of these are going to be easier than others. So let's go through. Hachnasat orchim and bikur cholim, that's easy. That fits into gemilut chasadim. Iyun tefillah we're going to skip for right now. Hashkamat beit hamidrash v'megadel banav l'talmud Torah, those both fall into Talmud Torah. And adam et chavero l'chaf zchut, by finding the benefit of the doubt in people, that's bringing peace between people. Not exactly, but you could say it is. Iyun tefillah is a little bit trickier. Some people actually explain that it comes under gemilut chasadim, because iyun tefillah is doing something for yourself. And doing something for yourself, it's actually very interesting. We always think chesed is to do things for other people. Caring about yourself, some people say, goes under the category of gemilut chasadim. You can give that some thought on your own. Okay, Tanu Rabbanan. Hadan chavero l'chaf zchut, danim oto l'zchut. If you judge others favorably and you think you give them the benefit of the doubt, then you will get rewarded also. Umaseh ba'adam achav, we're now going to see a bunch of stories. Sheyarad migalil al-yom v'niskar etz ba'al habayit echad b'darom. Okay, he came down up from the Galil, he went to someone in the south and he worked for him, 3 shanim. Erev Yom HaKippurim amar lo, ten li schari ve'elech v'azun et ishti u'banai. He said, okay, I got to go home to my family. It's time. Can you please give me some money and I'm going to go and support my family. Amar lo, ein li ma'ot. He says, sorry, I have no money. Amar lo, fine, I won't take money. Ten li perot. Give me fruit. Amar lo, ein li. He says, sorry, I have no fruits. Ten li karka. So give me land. Amar, ein li. Ten li behema. Give me an animal. Ein li. Sorry, I don't have. Ten li karim u'kasato. Give me some pillows and blankets, something. Ein li. He had nothing. He says, I'm sorry, don't have to give you. He took his stuff on his back and he went home feeling like garbage, right? So very upset. Lachar haregel, after the holiday, natal balabayit scharo biyado, v'imo masoy shlosha chamorim, echad shel ma'achal, echad shel mishteh, echad shel minei megadim. So now he comes after the holiday, and the balabayit, the owner, he comes with 3 donkeys, one full of food, one full of drinks, and one full of special megadim, nice foods, delicacies. V'halach lo lebeito. And then he goes to the house all the way right from the south all the way up to the north. He goes to the person's house. Achar she'achlu v'shatu natan lo scharo. So after they ate and drank, he gives him his money. Amar lo. So now he says to him, the owner, the Baal Bayit says, B'sha'ah she'amarta li, tein li schari, v'amarti ein li. Ma'ot, when you say pay me, and I said I don't have any money, b'mecha shatatani, what were you thinking? Amarti shema prachmati habezon nizamna lecha v'lakachta behen. I thought that maybe you got some business investment opportunity came up and you invested in it. You found a really cheap idea. You put all your money into it, and that's why. Ub'sha'ah she'amarti lecha tein li behema, v'amarti ein li behema. When I told you, you said give me an animal, and I said I don't have any. What did you think? Amarti shema muskeret biyad acherim. I said maybe you lent it out to someone. You rented it out. B'sha'ah she'amarti l'tein li karka, v'amarti lecha ein li karka, b'mecha shadetani. What did you think when I said I had no land? Amarti shema muskeret biyad acherim. Maybe you sharecropped it off to someone. It was in the hands of a sharecropper, someone who was kind of renting it from you. When I said I had no fruits, what did you think? Maybe you didn't take the trumot ma'asrot from them, and because of that, you had nothing you could give me that was ready to be eaten. And when I told you I had no pillows or blankets, what did you think? Maybe you sanctified all of your property to God. Maybe you said, all of my possessions will belong to God. Amarle ha'avoda kach haya. So the owner says to him, wow, I swear you are totally right. Hadarti kol nechasai b'shvil horkenes b'ni shelo asak b'torah. It's a fascinating line. He said, I was very upset with my son that he wasn't learning Torah, and I wanted to disown him from all my possessions, and I didn't want him to get benefit, not only in the future, but right now. I didn't want him to benefit from anything. So I basically made a promise that all my property I won't be able to access, right? I made a neder that I promised that I won't benefit at all from all my property. So the fact that you said, you assume that I sanctified all my property to God, that's basically what I did. Okay, now, how did he then get it all back? Well, when I went to my friends in the south, hitiru li kol nidarai. Then they martyred all of my neder. Okay, meaning that I told them that I was really only doing it for my son to get him to go learn Torah, and therefore and we're going to learn this when we get to Masechet Nedarim in a few years, which is all about promises you make and how you can undo promises also. Okay, you can go to a chacham and they can undo your neder. We do this every year, Hatarat Nedarim on Erev Rosh Hashanah, where we basically undo all our vows. Kol Nidre is also a vestige of the Hatarat Nedarim that people would do on a yearly basis, which is any vows that I made should be annulled. So they basically annulled my neder, and now he ends with the following line, Keshem shedantani l'schut, hamakom yadin otcha l'schut. Just like you judged me favorably, God should judge you favorably. Okay, and that should be your reward for having judged me favorably. Okay, next story. Tanu Rabbanan. In a Braita, it says, Maaseh b'chasid echad, there was a story with a very pious person, shepada riba achad, a pious man, that redeemed a na'ara achad, a riba is a young maiden, bat Yisrael, ulemalon ishkiva tacha margalotav. And when they got to the hotel, he had her sleep by his feet. This sounds very much like, it's the exact same wording, which I'm sure they're using on purpose, from the Ruth story. Ruth goes to Boaz and sleeps by his legs. So he has her sleep tachat margalotav. Lemachar yarad v'taval. In the morning, he got up and he went to the mikveh. Now, usually going to the mikveh is a sign of someone who has a seminal mission, which basically made all the students potentially suspect. Doesn't look very good. Here, this maiden slept in his room, and in the morning, he goes to the mikveh. So Shina l'talmidav v'amar lehem. So now he goes to his students and he says, "B'sha'ah sheshkivti atachar margalotai b'mecha shadetuni." What were you thinking when that happened? Amarnu shema yesh banu talmid she'eno baduk. We thought that maybe you had a student she'eno baduk l'Rebbe. Maybe you had a student that you were suspect of, that you didn't want to put her in his room, and therefore you put her in your room. So when I went then to the mikvah, okay, I understand, maybe you understand why I put her in my room. But when I went to the mikvah, what were you thinking? They said, we thought that maybe, well, because we traveled, maybe that caused the seminal emission. And Amar Lahem, he said to them, Havodah, kach haya. Okay, he says, you're totally right. That's what happened. Just like you judge me favorably, God should judge you favorably. Tanu Rabbanan, another story. And they're all going to end in the same way, where the person suggests something and the other person says, oh, that was exactly it. You have to wonder sometimes, was it really exactly it, or did they just give them a good idea of what had happened? But likely it is, and these are just stories, and that's why they always work out perfectly. So what happened next? They needed to go to a Roman matriarch woman. These Roman matriarch women appear in the Gemara a lot. Sometimes even some of them convert. So they needed something. They needed something from her. But it was a matronita. It was basically a prostitute where all the Roman officers would go to be with her. So they said, who's going to go? Right? Everyone was a little nervous to go to this prostitute. Amar lahem Rabbi Yehoshua, and probably because she was what's the issue? It was obviously some political thing going on. She obviously, because she was the prostitute of all the important officers of Rome, she was the go-between for them, and that's why they needed her. So they said, who's going to go? Amar lahem Rabbi Yehoshua, ani elech. So Rabbi Yehoshua says, I'll go. Halach Rabbi Yehoshua v'talmidav. So he goes together with his students. When they get to the entrance of her house, so he takes off his tefillin 4 amot away, and he closes the door. He goes with the students, but when he gets close to her, first he takes off his tefillin, then he goes in the door and he closes the door and he leaves all the students outside. After he leaves, he goes to the mikvah. And then he goes to teach his students. What did you think when I took off my tefillin? We assume that you thought that you can't bring anything impure into anything pure like the tefillin into a house of impurity. Sorry, not a holy item into a house of impurity. When I closed the door by myself and went in there, what did you think? You must have had some secret that you needed to talk to her about that you didn't want us to hear. Maybe some saliva came out of her mouth and went onto your clothing, and that's why you had to go to the mikvah. Right? We know that we've learned before that non-Jews are considered, the Torah treats them as because maybe there's zavot, maybe they had zava blood, so they're always treated as if they're a zav or a zava, and the saliva and all the liquids that come out of a body of a zav or a zava are impure. So therefore, we assumed maybe it got on your clothes, and that's why you went to the mikvah. Amar lehen ha'avodah kachaya atem kashem shedantun l'zchut hamakom yadun etchem l'zchut. Okay, end of story. We now finish our set of stories that were all showing how important it is to assume always that people are doing the right thing rather than assuming they're doing the wrong thing. It's always a good lesson in life. And what I like about these stories is the rabbis were smart about using it as an opportunity to teach the students something. It's always better when you teach through example and you have a situation right there to teach the students rather than trying to just teach them in a room, okay, this is what one's supposed to do. But when you take a situation and then you use it as a learning experience, in fact, it's even the wording, as soon as they get out in both stories, it says, V'shina l'tamidav, and then he taught his students that this is what he started to say. So they used it as a learning opportunity. Continuing on in the Gemara, Mifanim Truma Teora. So now we're going to go through the list of all the items that are not muktzah in the Mishnah. So you can take Truma Teora, and the Gemara is going to ask for each of these, what is the Gemara telling us, the Mishnah telling us that we wouldn't have already known? Pshita, isn't it obvious? Truma Teora, Kohen can eat. Of course, it's not muktzah. So, we're talking about a case where the truma was in the hands of the Israel, meaning someone who can't eat it, because the Israel can't eat truma. Mao detema kevan de lo chazia le'asur, since he can't eat it, maybe it's forbidden. Kamash malan kevan de chazia le'kohen shapir damin. Since he can give it to a kohen and a kohen can eat it, that makes it not muktzah. Udemai, tamai halo chazia le. But what do you mean? Tamai you can't eat on Shabbat. You need to take trumot masrot. So it's true. You have to take trumot masrot because it's safek. Maybe trumot masrot weren't taken. But there's a special law about Tamai, which is that poor people don't need to take Trumot Masrot on Tamai. Because they're poor, we don't want to make them do this since it's only a suffix anyway, and we're not sure. Maybe Trumot Masrot were already taken. So, since that's the case, the Gemara says, Kevandi Ibai, Mafkir Le'Lenichse. You could say, all my possessions I'm disowning, and anyone who wants can go take them. And then, V'Have Ani, and then you be a poor person, V'Chazile, and then you be able to eat it. So therefore, Hashtanami, Chazile, therefore now, we'll call this not muktzah. Ditznan, how do we know this? Because it says, Machilim et ha'aniyim demai, ve'et achsanya demai. Also, if a league of soldiers comes into a fleet of soldiers comes into your city, you're allowed to also feed them demai. Okay, often they came into the houses and said, give us food, so you can give them demai. V'amar Rav Huna, Tana Beit Shammai Omrim, Em Achilim et Haniyim Demai ve'et Achsanya Demai. According to Beit Shammai, you actually can't. But Ubei Hillel, we paskin like Omrim Achilim et Haniyim Demai ve'et Achsanya Demai. U'maaser Rishon shenitla trumato. So the Gemara says Pshita. Also, once you take the truma out of Maaser Rishon, of course you can eat it. Lo tzricha shiktimo b'shibolim u'nitala imenu trumat maaser. So this comes up many times in the Gemara, this answer, which is truma, truma to master, you're only obligated once you put the bundles into a pile. It's called meruach hakeri, when you make the pile, hakri, and when you pile them up. Now, if you take the maser for the Levi before it's in the pile, when it's still b'shibolim, when it's still bundles in the field, before you make the pile. It's before what we call gamar melacha. It's not a finished product yet. You're not actually chayiv in truma. If you take the maser and give it to the Levi, you're also not chayiv in maser yet. But if for whatever reason you gave it to a Levi at that early point, then you know what happens next. The Levi has to take truma from there for his truma, the truma that the Levi takes, what's called truma ma'asel. But the truma, my truma, because I was the owner of the crop, my truma were exempt from because it never got to the stage of Garam Malacha while it was in my possession. So that's what they're saying. In that case, you might have thought, okay, in the case of Hikdimo B'Shibolim, and you took out the Truma Maaser and not Truma Gedola, they're coming to teach you, well, you don't have to take Truma anymore, and that's why this is ready, and therefore not Muktzah. It's just like Rabbi Abba said, the name of Rish Lakish. Maaser Rishon Hikdimo B'Shibolim, Patur Mitruma Gedola. How do we know this? Shene'emar v'harimote mimenu trumat Hashem. You should lift from it the truma. Maaser min maaser. What do we learn from this? Maaser min maaser amarti lecha, v'lo truma gdola u'trumat maaser min maaser. You only have to take maaser from the maaser, which means the Levi has to take a tenth of his to give to the Kohen. But you don't have to take maaser, the truma from the Levi, and truma gedola, the truma that I was supposed to have taken. You don't have to do that. Amalei Rav Papa Abaye ihachi afilu hiktimo bekri nami lipater. So it sounds like, let's say you give the Levi first. It sounds like the Levi doesn't ever have to give truma gedola. So let's say you made the pile, and it was obligated both in truma gedola and in maaser. But then, instead of first separating out your truma gedola, first you give the Levi the maaser. Maybe then you're also going to exempt from Truma Gedola? No, in that case, it's only Hikdimo B'Shibolim. So now they say, right, should also be Patur there. So they say, no. There's another verse. Amarle, Alecha Amarka, Mikovat Notechem Tarimu. Meaning, there's a riboy, what we call extending, to include other cases. That's to teach you from all your matanot, you should give Truma, even if you took Maaser before Truma, then the Levi would have to take an extra Truma for the Kohen. Umara'it. So then they say, why? If it's Hikdimo B'Shibolim, no. But if it's already in the pile, yes. So they say very simply, Hai Idgan, V'hai Lo Idgan. That was made into a pile already, and this wasn't made into a pile, so that's why. Because the Chiyuv of Truma only kicks in at a later stage. Umaser sheni, that you already redeemed. Pshita, again, this is obvious. Once you redeem it, well, then everything becomes chulin, and right, which is regular, not sanctified, and therefore, of course, it's not muktzah. When you redeem it on a coin, what do? Let's say your fruits were worth 10 shekel. You take 10 shekel, but you have to add a chomesh. If you're redeeming your own fruits, not if you're redeeming someone else's, if you redeem your own fruits, you have to add a chomesh, which is a fifth, which really ends up a quarter, which because it's a fifth of the final, okay? So you would add a quarter. So you'd end up with 12 and a half. Okay, when you end up with 12 and a half, then 2 and a half is a fifth of that. So that's why it's called a fifth. So let's say you gave the principal the amount of the 10, but you didn't give the extra 2 and a half. This comes to teach you that it's effective already, even though you haven't given the extra quarter, which is really a fifth, or extra fifth, which is really a quarter. Dry lupines. So what do you learn from here? Because they're very bitter, they don't actually get eaten. Okay, we'll finish here for today. Nice way to end the page right at the end. And we'll pick up with Kuf Chav Chet on Sunday morning. Shabbat Shalom or Shavua Tov, depending on when you're listening.